When it comes to the question of whether DIY home renovation is still worth it, I have opinions. Spoiler alert, I think that yes, absolutely, you betcha, without a doubt, it is still worth it to DIY your home renovation. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 top reasons we think that DIY self-renovation is still worth it. And I think the number 5 is the best one and the most surprising. We've been working for 3 years to transform this 70s Australian house into our dream suburban homestead. But if you've had a different experience, you agree or disagree, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Getting the big topics out of the way first is that yes, I think that DIY renovation is still financially worth it. I know that so many of us are going through or have gone through the experience that house prices are going up more quickly than we can save for. And so that dream home seems to be getting further and further away every single payday. For us, we decided to get into something while we could and accept some pretty serious compromises in order to fit the budget. Those compromises meant that we had to accept that half this house was sinking, it was riddled with asbestos, and we had a lot of hard work ahead before we could even think about calling this our dream home. Now, we are anticipating by the end of this renovation, we will have spent about $300,000, and that's Aussie dollars. That sounds like a lot, but when we look back at the increase in house prices in our area, we never would have been able to buy the house we are creating if we had to keep renting and saving. So financially for us, renovating meant that we could buy the shitbox and invest in building our dream home over time. The second reason that we think DIY self-renovation is still worth it is one that's pretty high up on probably anybody's bingo card, and that is developing new skills. Apart from Danny being a professional sparky, neither of us had any real skills in any of the work needed for this renovation. Where we live, plumbing, electrical, waterproofing, and structural design have to be done by a professional, 100% ticketed trade, so we complied with that. Otherwise, we took our time to watch at least 2 how-to videos on everything else and basically just applied a can-do attitude to learning it on the job. We both already really enjoy working with our hands and learning new things, so renovating really leans into that side of our personalities already. Learning the skills meant we could take our time, be responsive to changing plans or problem solving when yet another unexpected issue came up, without always having to call a professional back or lose time waiting to schedule a trade in. Learning how and why each of these different tasks are done have even helped us to look forward and plan into the future better, to see problems before they come up. Even better, if something goes wrong or breaks, we already know how to fix it, even if the problem was caused by our incompetence in the first place, but that's only happened a few times. The third reason we think that DIY self-renovation is still worth it is actually kind of a combination of the first two, and that is strategic labor-saving skills. I will not lie to you, it is much, much, much slower to DIY. That old saying that you pay a professional for their experience more than their time is so true. But what we had was more time and less money, so we didn't really have the choice to pay for someone else's experience. If you've ever had a quote for professional trade services, you'll know that a big chunk of that cost is people time, as it absolutely should be. People should be paid for their time and labor. That said, while we were planning and designing, I was spending a lot of time paying attention to professional finishes at places like workplaces, other people's houses, public venues, and dude, I was shocked. The level of variation in the quality of the finishes was huge. I didn't know how to guarantee the quality of outcome that would be produced at my house. So in the end, our very slow and incremental DIY approach meant that we achieved a quality level outcome that we were happy with, without the contract management stress that I was afraid of, or that price tag. Do we do it as well as every professional could have done? Absolutely not. But we are very happy with what we've achieved for ourselves. We did learn, though, that some projects are absolutely not worth trying to take on as a beginner DIYer. We both still regret trying to replace the eaves ourselves, but glad that we learned from it and paid a professional to replace our retaining wall. Now, the fourth reason that we think DIY home renovation is still worth it is it's a bit more nebulous. It is self-confidence. From these years of renovating, I believe in myself and Danny more than I ever have before. Looking back on what we've achieved, what we've overcome, and how strong our relationship is now, I feel like we could take on anything. These days, if we come across a problem, we'll often say, we'll figure something out, even when we have no idea what to do. And you know what? We always do figure something out. It might not be right, but it's our way and it works. The only problem is that you have to go through the tough stuff in order to develop that capacity or resilience or whatever you want to call it. When we were right in the middle of the tough stuff, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like we'd figure it out, but I guess that's why they call it growing pains. So the fifth and last reason that DIY self-renovation is still worth it is because it helps others. We have friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers now who have taken on DIY projects, small or large, because they've seen us do it. I wouldn't necessarily say that we inspired them so much as show them that it's possible to do without any experience and show it to be a little bit more accessible. And we didn't learn everything by ourselves. We benefited from the previous experiences of the people around us, asking them questions, listening to how they did their renovations, and asking for help to solve a problem, borrow a trailer, or build our kitchen countertops. Apart from the fact that we can and do the same for others now, I never before anticipated how happy people were to share their knowledge, opinions, skills, or just be involved and be able to help. You know what? I feel that way when someone else asks us for advice or to show them how to do something. It warms my little DIY heart. We have to have this as our forever home now because there is so much of our community embedded in it that it's just a part of us now. And so that's it. Our top 5 reasons why we think that DIY self-renovation is still worth it. But that's just our experiences. Tell us what you think in the comments down below. Tell us about your renovation project. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed hanging out with me today, but more interested in actually seeing the renovation in progress, have a look at our playlist down below. See you soon. If you've ever should have worn shoes on the work site. This renovation will... The third